What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Locker podcast. I am Brandon. I am here with Patrick and Jim.
What's up, nerds?
What's up, guys?
And we're going to start off with something I came across, I think maybe a week or so ago. It looks like there are 10 actresses that are vying for the role of Domino. I know both of you are big X-Force fans and Deadpool fans, and it looks like along with Cable, they're looking at putting Domino in the next movie.
Yes, that's going to be awesome because I heard they were having trouble already with the with Deadpool 2 and the casting of Cable, which kudos to the whole film about staying true to the comic. I really didn't like the casting choice they had for Cable, so I'm pretty interested to hear about this Domino thing.
Yeah, I mean, they've all, what was it, the director backed out, right?
Yep, director
and
backed out.
And then the composer as well?
I heard
the director?
I heard the director backed out mainly because of Ryan Reynolds telling him to fuck off because of this pick with Cable, which was horrible.
I can't remember who it was, but I know the guy. It's the dude from the first
the TV show.
Yeah. I kind of agree with Ryan Reynolds on that one. But anyways, with this, it looks like there's 10 people that are in the list, and they kind of named it in maybe the most notable to the least notable, but there's some really interesting names on here. First one is Sienna Miller from American Sniper. Next one is Lizzie Kaplan. She was in Cloverfield, Mean Girls. She's on Masters of Sex. Mary Elizabeth Winstead from Scott Pilgrim and the Thing remake.
Okay.
Kelly Rohrbach, who's going to be in the new Baywatch movie. Ruby Rose from Orange is the New Black.
Right.
Mackenzie Davis, who might be a little bit of an unknown. I don't know if you guys have watched Black Mirror yet. She's in one episode of that, and that shows a lot. But she does a really good job in that. Eve Hewson, who was in The Nick.
Okay.
And then we've got Sophia Boutella, who was in Kingsman. She was the girl with the knife legs.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one on there that I was like, all right, we've seen her
do some
do
shit.
A lot of this before.
Yeah.
Stephanie Sigman, who is in Spectre.
Right.
And the last one is Sylvia Hoeks. Who looks like a foreign actress.
Like overseas, something like that.
Yeah, what do you guys think of this list?
So for me, Ruby Rose is, man, she's hot as hell.
And she looks the part.
She looks like if with a little bit of training, a little bit of choreographed training, she can knock it out of the park. Now, will she have the attitude? Do we want a British, or do we want to, how do we want to...
Fake American accent.
Right, fake American accent, which you really can't knock because half of Walking Dead's cast is British, so they do a pretty good job.
Batman, up until recently, I mean, Christian Bale, the Joker,
right,
and Commissioner Gordon were all not American.
Exactly. So they've got us pegged,
Yeah.
So that one's good. What about you?
Me, Jim.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think there's some people that look the part more than I think there's some people that look the part, and other people that would be able to act the part. But I do think this is a solid list. The one on there that I really like is Sophia Boutella from Kingsman, because we've seen her kick ass before.
True.
And I think, like, at least you have that part down.
The physicality of the role, she's got that part.
Yeah,
but see,
I kind of agree with you on that one. And I mean, it's weird because it's like Domino. I don't know how to say it. It's like she doesn't necessarily look like anything specific because she's changed her look as far as like who's drawing her, but she's also always like white face with the black eye, with the black
spot.
Not black eye, but you know what I mean. The black colored eye.
Black eye.
Spot.
No, I don't want to mean it like she got beat up or anything. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I would love to see Sophia. She was awesome in the Kingsman.
Yeah, I think she was awesome in the Kingsman. I think it just depends
But
on.
like you said, she's not. She's not British. I don't believe.
No,
Algeria. She's Algier.
Algier.
Is she?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Nice. Like I don't know. I think it really depends on who can play off of Ryan Reynolds. You know.
That's the thing is like I think Lizzie Kaplan and Mary Elizabeth Winstead would be really good in that part of the role,
Mhm.
but I don't necessarily see them physically being that role. I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, like her being in Cloverfield Lane, and we've seen her like be actiony, but not like
Actiony.
choreographed like action. Not to think that she couldn't do it, but
Right. It's just a stretch. It's a stretch. It's a stretch of the imagination for you to get there from point A to point B. I get that part.
yeah,
You know. And
And this is a big decision because from what I was reading, X-Men After Apocalypse, well, not the greatest, so they're really looking to kind of soft reboot the universe.
mhm.
And because of the Deadpool success, they're looking to ease in with X-Force by introducing Cable and Domino, and then after Deadpool 2, have an X-Force movie.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, it's a nerd-related decision. How big a deal could it be? But to me, it's a big deal because if these are going to be good, they got to be good.
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Deadpool for the most part has set the bar for the Fox universe, the Fox Marvel universe. It set it so flipping high for them that
Yeah,
now anything other than true comic book fan service is not going to cut it.
no, people are.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
you
why
have to make everybody happy.
they were, Tim Miller, from what I was reading, he was the director. He wanted to take it to an all-out action flick. And Ryan Reynolds was like, no, dude, we're going to do what we did in the first one. That's why it was so successful.
Right.
Exactly.
And it was like, no, we're going to kick you to the curb because clearly they're not going to replace me as Deadpool. This is not him saying it. It's
Right.
like, they're not going to replace me, so bye.
Yeah. That was.
I mean, he's not wrong though. Like,
No.
No, it's not.
that might be the one time you have like the ability to be a dick like that because it's like, no, he is Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then this whole thing, could totally catch us off guard, and we could totally find a new Domino, a new person, and change our perspective completely of what we've been used to since her inception.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. To be honest, I'm still more concerned with Cable because his relationship to Deadpool and their, Deadpool being Deadpool and then Cable just being the military hard ass, straight and narrow. I mean, that's the relationship because that's hilarious. And
I know you have to find the right guy for that.
yeah, and it's not that I don't like Kyle Chandler, the dude from Friday Night Lights. I don't know if he could do that. I've never seen him do anything like that.
Yeah, I think with the people out there, like, if this movie was being made like back when the first X-Men movies were being made, I could see that being a pick. But like, yeah, you really have to think about it now.
Yeah.
I still think if Kevin Nash could do a good acting job, he would be perfect for that.
If Kevin Nash could do a good acting job.
I mean, listen, I know he's a wrestler, but I mean, like, there's a difference between that acting and, like,
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
You know what? After that photo over the summer of J.K. Simmons being ripped,
oh, yeah.
I'd go for him.
Oh, my God, that was ridiculous.
Well, see, okay, so J.K. Simmons, yes, I get it when and I don't think it was him. It was somebody else who looked like him. I don't think it was actually.
No, the guy there was somebody who wanted the role.
Stephen Lang from Avatar.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Stephen Lang. That was the one. That's my choice personally.
Yeah.
He's Cable as far as I'm concerned. He has the I don't know. He has a swagger. You know what I'm saying? That's
Especially seeing him as the villain in that movie, I could see him. Yeah, like because he was the military bad guy in Avatar. Like I could see him being. He can be that military thing.
right. He can totally do it, and he's into it.
Oh yeah, it definitely helps when they want to be a role.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I dig about it, because Ryan Reynolds wanting to be Deadpool and understanding what it is, did the job he did because of that.
Yeah.
If Stephen Lang feels that he needs to be, or he should be Cable and understands what that commitment means, and then wants to make sure that role is pulled off the right way, he'll do it. So I'll say I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. I want to see, who else they do. I mean, you do have to realize though, as far as like messing up the entire X-Men movie universe, this is all Hugh Jackman's fault.
Yeah.
If he wasn't so good at Wolverine, they would have rebooted this after the second or third movie.
Oh, for sure.
But they didn't want to
That's
lose
where
him.
you and I disagree, Brandon. I love Days of Future Past.
Oh.
No, but after 3, like you're telling me.
Oh, X-Men, whatever that was, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I agree
when
with that.
X-Men 3 came out, if Hugh Jackman wasn't such a good Wolverine, they would have started over completely. But they literally
Yeah, I agree
looked
with
at
that.
like how they could save him in these movies.
Well, it's basically how much?
That's-
How can we squeeze more money out of this before we kill it?
But they killed it a while back. They're just dragging it along.
That's why I would love for them to go all Deadpool and have it be like those original movies were in his head, and now the real characters are coming out, and you totally reboot it in that direction. I think that would be hilarious.
Are you listening? Are you listening,
Are
Fox?
you
This
listening?
is run with this idea.
So basically, you want to pull a what was it? Stewie and Brian talk about the movie cop out of "It's All a Dream."
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And so Deadpool's just sitting there playing with the action figures, poo poo poo, and come out of it and be like, "Oh, hey
Aren't
guys,
you glad they didn't waste money on this?
yeah,
That would be awesome.
Perfect.
Hey, package it up, sold. It's sold.
It's done now.
Yeah, make sure we have to hashtag this Fox movies and X-Men so they can understand.
Fox, we're giving this one to you.
Yes, we're giving this one to you guys.
And that way you can still use Hugh Jackman. It's fine.
Yeah, there you go. See, boom.
Although it is irritating because people are like, they have the movie idea of Wolverine, and the comic Wolverine is a much different. Like, Hugh Jackman's like 6'1", and Wolverine's like 5'4".
Yeah, exactly.
so you want a Tom Cruise instead? Is that what you're saying?"
Yes, I want little Tom Cruise playing crazy Canadian.
This is sort of an offshoot, but I'm getting sort of annoyed at trailers using awesome music, and this is to Logan,
Mhm.
because it's like I can't tell if this is going to be good or not because the music is awesome, but I'm not sure because the track record for Wolverine movies is not the best.
Right.
And it goes like Suicide Squad. That trailer was amazing. I don't think the movie came out as good as that first trailer with the Queen soundtrack.
Right. I still haven't watched
Yeah.
it.
You're not missing.
I didn't either because Brandon didn't watch it.
Neither you got. Well, I don't know. Like I said, we now live in a post-election world where literally anything on the fucking planet is possible. So I might go back and rewatch Suicide Squad. I might rewatch Batman, Superman, and Suicide Squad back to back with some Doritos tacos because everything I thought I knew is totally wrong.
It's totally
I may have been. I feel like I'll text you guys and be like, you guys, Suicide Squad isn't a bad movie when nothing makes sense anymore.
If you go as far to tell me that Batman and Robin is a good movie,
Oh,
then we're gonna
No,
have
see, that was I don't know. I don't know where the line is drawn on this stuff. Because if you compare it to a President Trump, it's a totally different level of looking at things.
Exactly.
Anyways,
Speaking of like complete apocalyptic ventures here, as we're in different times, we're in a different state of mind, and it doesn't help that we have had a couple of season premieres and season finales of post-apocalyptic worlds, let's just say, and for me as a parent, and Jim, you can probably talk to this more so than Brandon the man-child can.
Yeah.
I think he is our child.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm your surrogate.
We got screwed on that adoption.
Yeah. Yeah, where do we send this one back?
Well, you guys just get to like, I'm the guinea pig. Like, all right, well, he didn't listen to that, so I'm gonna take it differently with my kid. Like, hey, don't be that stupid.
Exactly. So
Look what he did.
I'm always curious to as far as it goes to how does parenting work in a post-apocalyptic or apocalyptic scene in an apocalyptic time, and one of the things is like if you guys haven't seen the season finale of Strain, you know. The post-apocalyptic world or the apocalypse can really screw with a kid's head. Um, Case in point, Zach from The Strain, who decided to, oh, by the way, if you haven't seen it, cover your ears, decided to blow up the Statue of Liberty, which was
so like
fucked up.
Yeah.
As a dad, you're sitting there like, what the hell did you just do?
Well, I mean, in the show, his mom, I mean, in the book as well, his mom gets turned into a vampire.
Right.
And in the show, it's like he knows his mom's a vampire and not herself.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't stop him from being a stupid kid.
Yeah, exactly. So that leads me to my list of like the top 5 things to, as a parent, to look out for in a apocalyptic / post-apocalyptic world. Actually, Zach's mental condition is number 3 on my list, which is check the mental health of your child. Not saying there's going to be a heap load of doctors and psychologists to help you out with therapy, but if they start getting a little trigger happy and if they start going all Zach or Carl on you, where they start, Carl from the comic books, mind you, where they decides to off another kid just because they were taken as a threat, you may want to dial up the weed or whatever, alcohol or something to kind of keep him in a chill mode.
Just chill him out because
things can
meds are important.
Meds are important. Actually, my number 1 thing was let's not have kids unless you're in a safe location, i.e., not a prison, not an island, not a building, not a boat, definitely not on the road. You want to have kids someplace where you're way, way far away from everybody else. Mountain bunker would be a good one.
Does that count if you have 2 dads? Like, I don't know, Shane and...
Oh, yeah. And Rick. Yeah, I would still steer fairly clear of that. I mean, let's just say it's not a good time. Number 2, if you do have kids, keep them at home. Don't take them on the road with you. Case in point, Negan decides to want to cut Carl's arm off. Hey, Rick, yes, Carl did sneak into that, but if you would have just kind of laid down the law and like, hey, Carl, you're here to stay with the women and children, you didn't have to face that issue. I always find it funny when people decide to take their kids in these movies. Like, I'm going to take John with me because I need the extra help. No, Johnny's little ass needs to stay at home.
No, like you have a 11-year-old you're asking to help you with this task. Like you're a bad parent.
Yeah, exactly. Automatically put into the bad parent box for that one.
Just don't do that.
Even by apocalyptic standards, you put in the bad parent box. 3, check the mental health of your child. We talked about this with Zach and The Strain. Again, Carl offing kids left and right because he just felt that was a need thing that needed to be done.
Is he doing that in the show, or are you talking about the comic?
The comic. I'm talking about the comic.
Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't do it in the show.
He doesn't do it in the show, which was kind of odd. I thought they were going to go that route.
But yeah, in the comic book, he murders
a ton of people.
All the kids.
Yeah, he murders a ton of people. They did touch on it with the 2 girls. I forgot their names. The ones that Carol were taking care of. One offs the other to make her come back as a zombie or whatever. Again, mental health issues. Lock your kids up. Hide your kids, as they say. Number four, for me on my list at least, was physical fitness. If you have a chubby kid that is hawking down ho-hos and Twinkies, you might want to get him off of that shit. This is like Zombie Land, where cardio, cardio, cardio comes into play here. Um, you don't want a kid to become zombie bait.
No.
And lastly, get him in the Boy Scouts now. I mean, right now. I mean, the again, not to harp on the election, but this election did pass. Get him in the Boy Scouts. Might prove useful later on. Who knows?
Now, if you have a fat kid and then this happens, like if you have a Cleveland Junior situation,
Right.
do you let it like get him working out while you're on the run, or do you just like say, "Hey, it was a good
It was a good run.
we had, son, but Daddy wants to live."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would honestly, I would slap the ho-hos out of his hand and, put that little zombie behind him. Or like pull a zombie on a leash type deal.
just get him running.
Do a Michonne and and just have
Basically.
him right behind him. Like, yeah, keep moving, son, or else he's gonna bite you in the ass. Yeah, because I've talked to my friends and my other friends who have parents and who are fans of shows like Walking Dead and things like Zombieland and even Terminator Salvation, for that matter, with John Connor's little smart ass. It's you kind of have to get your kids in check if something like that goes down. Have a plan, people. Have a plan is a big thing.
I'd like to add a bonus one and say teach your kids how to vote.
Oh, yes. That is awesome. Yes. Teach your kids the importance of voting. Because nothing staves off the apocalypse like voting.
Hi guys, Brandon from Nerd Locker here. We just want to talk about the importance of avoiding the apocalypse. We're probably fucked at this point. There's no undoing this. But maybe just in the future, like let's read a little bit, get a little educated. I know 12,000 people in this country voted for Harambe on Tuesday, and I know that was so cute, and I bet you thought you were so fucking adorable doing that. But this is what happens. So maybe tell your kids that it's funny to post memes of a dead gorilla, but don't write them in to be president of the United fucking States, you idiots.
Exactly. The more you know.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
And speaking of more, did you guys know about this Max Landis redoing the American Werewolf in London?
It sounds like you said redoing.
Yeah.
That could be
Sorry,
how.
rebooting the American Werewolf in London.
Being into history, I'm now kind of going back and trying to find these 7 signs that would be showing us the apocalypse
And
and the
this
end of the
might be
world.
the 7th.
And I've got 2.
Right.
One would be the Cubs winning, obviously.
Yeah, Cubs winning the World
Although I don't know if it would have been much better if the Indians won.
Right. True.
I'm shedding a tear here with Patrick on that one.
Yes, we are.
But obviously Max Landis rebooting his father's classic movie has got to be up there.
It's got to be. It's
got to be. And then to read the people who are backing it as I'm assuming just producers, Robert Kirkman,
yeah.
who obviously we were just talking about, David Albert is his cohort. And it's like, who in the hell thought this was a good idea?
Exactly.
It's the thing is he's done so many other movies that you could have like redone and be like, Dad, I'm doing one of your movies, but like he's done a lot of good movies. He's done a lot of great movies,
right.
But American Werewolf in London, for coming out in 1981, is still one of the best horror movies I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
which was before Max was born, by the way.
That's craziness.
Maybe that's why he wants to do it.
I think maybe. I mean, do you guys think it's maybe, proving that he can move from out of his dad's shadow. I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of that why he would try to do
Well, and he's written movies, but has he directed?
that. He's just written. There's been a lot of written stuff. Let's see. Oh,
He has director credits, but I don't know if they're for movies.
no, they're short films.
A lot of them are shorts on YouTube that I've seen. He has actually one that's really funny, called Wrestling. Wrestling isn't wrestling,
Oh, really?
and it's fucking
I can
hilarious.
check that one out.
But I don't like. Maybe you should start out with Trading Places, and if that goes well, like then you can move up to American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Well, we do disagree on one thing because I know you guys before we started recording, you're like, "Oh, I hope he does, real effects and all that." And it's like, I kind of hope he does CG, and this all blows up in his face and tells him, "Don't do any more remakes of your dad's movies." Damn it!
See here, like the thing is I do think Max Landis is a really interesting person. Like he has written a lot of really great things. He just did American Alien,
Okay.
the Superman miniseries through DC, and it was very well done. And it's not even like I don't think he sucks by any means.
Mhm.
I just think I have such an attachment to this movie specifically that it's like I was hoping it never got remade
Mm.
because that specifically in that movie, that transformation is still the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was the most personally scarring for myself. As a kid, watching that movie and sneaking away and watching that movie on HBO, um, it really screwed me up. And I think we talked about this before we started recording. It was the screaming piece. It was the transformation and the screaming. It was like something that a 9-year-old kid should never experience, watching because it just scarred me.
Because he's in so much pain. Like it is just like excruciating. And even just like the mental anguish he goes through where like he has that dream within a dream within a dream kind of thing,
Right.
and then like his best friend's dead body is telling him to kill himself the whole movie. Like it's a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
to just deal with.
It is. And to Jim's point, I can see a little bit of CG, but I think if he were to go like the Marvel route to it, you know what I'm saying? Like Marvel has this weird mix of real animatronics and real actors and a slight bit of CG where you can't really tell the difference between the two. Yeah, maybe I can get with that, but the transformation piece has got to be, it has to be there. It has to be real because I think, for me, between that and Brandon, you made a good point with the dead friend piece. Those two parts kind of screwed you up while you were watching the movie.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh shit, this guy's the dead friend is just basically telling him to off yourself. It's really should reconsider this. I think was awesome. In the
And it
movie
just like
itself.
and then it keeps following him around the whole movie. Like
Yeah, it's you guilty. It
And
basically guilty conscience.
his wounds and all that get worse and worse. Like he deteriorates in the way he's looking. Like his flesh
yeah.
is peeling off, and
which I thought was absolutely brilliant because
Yeah.
most of the time when you see the dead friend in any kind of movie, it's always the dead friend. He looks exactly the same. He always looks the same in the movie as he gets worse. That was actually pretty cool.
And then off topic of any of that, you got to really make sure whoever you get to play Alex Price,
Mhm.
the nurse, is just as hot
Yeah.
because she was perfect in that. That's just a
Yeah,
side note. Don't fuck up that casting. Make sure they're
and I don't know what it was. Maybe I don't like we didn't have that much exposure, but it was like she's British, so it was like this. I know it's not terribly foreign, but this foreign
Yeah.
hot chick was like,
you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's up?
yeah. And I'm remembering correctly, right? There were boobies,
Yes.
right?
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
those boobies.
When you
Okay.
feel like that.
Yeah,
Hell
that was
of a-
fantastic as a little boy.
Again,
You're like, oh, werewolves. I can sit through this
Well,
scary
that's
movie.
that's pretty much the goal, was to get through that so you could see that part of the movie. That was the only reason.
Yo was our stage.
That was the
You have to get through the Nazi werewolves and the friend getting cut up and all that kind of shit just so you can see
right.
that.
Well, Brandon, there was a time when there wasn't the internet, dude. So people
Boy,
like
that is-
Patrick
those
and
are-
I, that's how we survived.
Dark days for you guys. Well, actually, no, they're pretty dark now. Never mind. I guess I don't know anything anymore.
That's a good question. Would I take internet and no Trump, or no internet?
Or no internet.
Oh,
It is
I
tough.
need my porn.
Exactly. I think I would take the no internet personally.
I feel like everyone at this point is like, yeah, bartering with anything they
Right.
can.
I'll trade you.
I see your,
Exactly.
and I'll raise you this.
So, I mean that's it's going to be interesting if the kid does try to pull it off, and Kirkman's involved, and all these other people are involved. It could be a pretty good story. I mean, I doubt it won't be a bad story. It's a ballsy move. It's a really ballsy move.
Well, what's nice,
Yeah.
well, kind of nice, is a lot of these reboots that we're seeing now, there is some kind of sequel associated with the original, and 9 times out of 10, the sequel sucks. And there is the sequel, American Werewolf in Paris, and it was not very
Right.
good.
That was
So-
not very good.
You know, there's something there lowering our expectations already.
That's true. That's true. And I'm still upset that the writer of Last Starfighter will not release the rights. That's the only reboot I really want to see. That's it.
That could use
Wasn't-
some CG.
Yeah.
That was
Wasn't-
all.
Wasn't Shades in American Werewolf? He
Yeah.
was.
Yes, he was. Thomas Everett Scott.
Yeah.
Shades.
Doing that thing he does.
Neaters.
Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, he's gotta be pretty confident though to take that movie of all of his dad's movies and like
Yeah.
remake it.
On
So
the flip side, he can't be doing any worse than his Chronicle partner on Fantastic Four.
Ooh,
Oof.
that's low blow.
have we ever
He
talked
deserves that because I watched it.
Yeah.
This is totally off top. Oh no, I watched that on HBO once. I think like it finally was on, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it
Yeah.
here, and I did, and I was like, huh, wish I had that time back, but I don't.
Tell me
So-
it wasn't that much better than the movie we saw with Jay, that version.
Oh, the Roger Corman one.
Yeah,
It was
wasn't
not
that much
much
better.
better.
that's
Well,
pathetic.
it's like, did you ever see it,
No.
Patrick?
No.
Like, they go into the negative
Mhm.
zone, and everybody gets their powers, and Reed like disappears.
Oh wait. You're talking about
So-
the new version? Yes, I saw that one. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the old.
Yeah, and he's like hiding in the woods, being a scientist. The whole thing was just
Yeah.
fucking.
It was
weird.
really weird, and it was such a stretch for Michael B. Jordan to be Johnny Blaze, and the brother sister relationship was like, that was such a reach that
Oh,
I know that's why
absolutely.
Michael B. Jordan signed up
Oh.
for Black Panther, because he's like, I got to redo this. I redeem myself. I have to pull a Captain America on this one.
getting away from
Yeah.
this.
So, funny rumor news though is that supposedly Fox gave back the rights to Fantastic Four. Is it Fox? No.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Fox. Well, not gave back, but they supposedly the rumor is they worked out a deal like they did with Sony for Spider-Man,
Yeah,
because in order to use them in the Avengers.
so let's keep our fingers crossed that we have a nice surprise at the end of Infinity Wars.
I fucking hope so. I gotta say, after seeing Doctor Strange, not total spoilers, we're not gonna say
Right.
everything, but as we were leaving, Patrick and I were both like, man, this is gonna be,
Trippy.
he's gonna be one of the big
Yeah.
heroes in these movies because he's just on a level that is just insane.
Exactly.
And it looks like Michael B. Jordan's gonna be a super villain.
Yeah,
know
he's gonna
that.
be a super villain in Black Panther. He's bulking up supposedly for this role. So
Jesus.
it's the same. It's like a whole total Chris Evans move. You know, it seems like
Yeah.
you play Johnny Blaze,
Except maybe he'll die.
you play
in
Johnny
this,
Storm,
and, it
and then you
sucks.
turn around and go and do a Marvel movie that actually means something. So, but hey, dude, kudos for him for giving it another try. You know,
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's
Yeah.
you know,
who's he? He's playing Eric Killmonger. God, when was this character made? The 70s. Yep, that is a 70s name. Eric Killmonger. Oh, you know what? While we're on it, I know Patrick wanted to talk about Luke Cage.
Oh yes, Luke Cage. Sweet Christmas.
Is he visiting the White House?
I wish.
That'd be nice.
I wish.
Fucking hope so.
Not yet, obviously. Wait until
No, after. Wait until January.
January.
I mean, he can go now if he
Yeah.
wants, because that's a cool.
Let's talk briefly about Luke Cage, because I feel like a character like Luke Cage is something that is needed more than ever now, as opposed to just as much as he was needed in the 70s. If you guys haven't seen the series yet on Netflix, I suggest you check it out. But Luke Cage is the one of the best heroes I think I've seen Marvel put out in the Netflix era. I mean, Daredevil was awesome. Don't get me wrong, you know, but Luke Cage hit a chord with the Black community and just the community in general. You know, a guy that was actually genuinely good. You know.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. He's a good guy. He's not spiteful. He's not vengeful. Even when he has a reason to be vengeful, he is not.
Oh, he could have walked around like the world's biggest asshole. Right. And I do have to say, as far as that portrayal, I think that was the best carryover. Right. And it is funny because you look at like Jessica Jones, who like, you know, has done some shitty things and is kind of a bitch, and like Matt Murdock, who like, you know, definitely isn't perfect and is kind of an asshole. And then you have Luke Cage, who is like just trying to do his best.
Exactly. Mind you, he's the strongest one out of the three.
Like he could go around and just destroy people, and he is just trying to do good by the world.
I think there was a line in the series where one of the guys in the barbershop is like, man, if I had powers like you, I would go on the run, knock over a bank or two once in a while, and then keep on going. And that was so not what Luke was about. He's like, you know, man, I'm just...
That was the other guy in the barbershop when they rebuilt it.
The other guy in the barbershop. He was not about that. And I think as a Black superhero, you, as a kid, especially as me as a kid and growing up and reading Black superheroes and reading about Black superheroes, you always felt that they were outside of the Marvel universe to some extent. Even though Black Panther was included a lot and you would see him a lot, and Luke Cage was included with Power Man and Iron Fist, you always felt like you were kind of an outsider. But when you watch Luke Cage on Netflix, it was something that was like, yo, this guy is real. This guy is, you know, a good role model. And I think that's way more important than anything else, you know. That I did like was his uniform. I know they had in the series they had a callback to his Power Man days, which was awesome.
That was my favorite part, and I don't think I didn't notice it in any of the other Netflix series, but when he breaks out after being experimented on, and then he sees himself in like the yellow jumpsuit with the headband, I was like, dude, that's awesome. He's like, that's ridiculous.
He's like, this is, what's he say? He's like, you look a damn fool.
That was my favorite.
By far, that was like one of, and it was great. It was a great throwback to it, right? It was like, oh, that's,
oh, it looked exactly like it.
Oh no, it was spot on. He looks. That's the other thing too, is it was towards the end of the series, and I'm just watching him, and I'm like, Jesus, man, this guy was born to be Luke Cage. Right. Like, you know, the Robert Downey Jr. looks like Tony Stark, and you know, people resemble the characters.
Cumberbatch
but like,
looks like Doctor Strange,
but like
Mike Coulter.
This
Mike
was
Coulter, is his name,
perfect.
by the way.
Yeah. Mike Coulter is Luke Cage.
Right. Like hands down. No, there was no question about it because he looked the part. He looked like he could just completely demolish you, but
Oh yeah.
he's a nice enough guy where he looks like he would actually help you.
Well, there were times too, like I'm watching it, I'm just thinking about like New Avengers and everything else, and I'm like, fuck, he looks just like him. Like everything is so spot on with it.
Right. It was awesome, and then like I like the for me personally was the call out to the Trayvon Martin hoodie. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the reason why the writers picked Luke Cage to have a hoodie was to pay tribute to Trayvon Martin. The
That is really
the hoodie
cool.
with
I didn't
the
know that.
hoodie with the bullet holes in it was a protest, and it was a very silent but very well done protest to showcase that Luke Cage was Trayvon Martin was
That is really
right,
cool.
and it was done tastefully to the point where you didn't really realize it until you started thinking about it, because there was the scene where he's in the convenience store with Method Man.
That was the fucking best shit in the world. I lost my fucking mind. I was like, is it Method Man? Like just as a cameo? And then the dude's like, oh, it's you. And I'm like, oh shit, it's actually Method Man being Method Man.
That was awesome, man, and that was it. That was part of it because if you listen to the Method Man rap that he does with Sway, and
I wanted to mention that.
it talks about it in there. So if you have to listen, there's little cues, and if you're a hip hop head from the 80s and 90s like I was, there are lyrics in the dialogue that are from hip hop songs and hip hop records.
Really?
Yeah. There's a
What I was going to say about that song was it's cool because, I mean, Method Man is a
huge
comic book fan. I mean, if you listen to Wu-Tang, you've heard him reference, that kind of stuff before, as well as, different action movies and kung fu movies and stuff like that. But to see him do the rap on this and incorporate characters that exist in that Marvel universe, like he brings up Iron Man specifically. I thought that was awesome.
Right.
That it's like it's a rap that he's doing for that universe, but he's a fan of the characters as a person. Yeah, that was
Johnny
cool.
Blaze.
I didn't know there were other like.
Oh yeah, there's a scene where Misty, was it not Misty Knight, but it's the night nurse.
She did great
Misty Knight
too.
was awesome, wasn't she?
When she gets shot in the arm, I was like,
yeah.
"Oh God, what are they going to do? What are they going to do?"
She's getting her arm. I was like, "Oh my God, she's going to get her arm. Tony Stark's going to come in and like give her a robotic arm."
That's why I said like Shield.
Yeah.
Shield's giving you a metal arm. I'm like, do it.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. So, but there was a line where I think it was Misty Knight and this other detective. They're Internal Affairs was interrogating her about her work in the case of Luke Cage. And there's a line where he says, he sits down a can of lemonade and he says, lemonade, I hear it's a popular drink. And she's like, it still is. That's from a rap song, Dwick, by Gangstar and Nice and Smooth. Lemonade is a popular drink and it still is. That's one of the lines in that. If there's another line from another pop culture reference, which was the Diamondback. Diamondback's first name is Willis, right?
Yeah.
And Shades says something during the hostage negotiation scene. He's like, "What you talking about, Willis?" And he's like, "Oh, you've got jokes." Now, if you weren't paying attention to
I got that
different
one.
strokes, right? That shit was hilarious. There's Cypress Hill references in it. So there's like other little bits and pieces sprinkled throughout the Luke Cage universe, which are all from the hip hop and rap community. So,
well, then one of my buddies told me every episode is named after a Gangstar song.
Yeah, not every episode, but the majority of the episodes, they're all after like Gangstar songs. So like Step Into the Arena was another one, because Gangstar was one of my favorite rap groups when I was growing up. So when I started noticing the titles, I was like, wait a minute, what is this? Why is there so many Gangstars? Moment of Truth, Code of the Streets, Step into the Arena, Just to Get a Rep, Suckers Need a Bodyguard. Yeah, I guess so. I'm looking at the titles now. Even Dwick was in here. So every single one was an actual, wow, Soliloquy of Chaos. All right. I saw a couple. That is
All right then.
that is dope. That is so wow.
It's definitely the most thoroughly done Marvel show so far.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I think it sets the bar extremely high.
And then we're getting Iron Fist in March, which already looks awesome.
Yeah, that one. I don't know. I have to wait and see because the.
I would like to see though, like as far as what I've seen him as Danny Rand, I would love to see a Heroes for Hire
Yes.
miniseries.
Are you kidding me? With
the two of them just hanging out together, like
yeah.
I like how they do that 100 times in the show too. I don't know if you ever did you catch any of that, Jim, with the Heroes for Hire references?
Yeah,
Or
I
you-
really, I trying to figure out how to say this because like Luke Cage, I enjoyed it, but I didn't know much about him from the comic books, so I was like, okay, whatever. But I know him more from like Heroes for Hire or Daredevil's my guy, so like Shadowland crossover and that sort of thing.
Right.
So I kind of recognize those more versus knowing much about Luke Cage. I was more just entertained with the show versus knowing him from the comic book.
Yeah, I definitely don't. Patrick and I had this conversation too, like leaving Doctor Strange. I mean, I met you guys when I was first working at Maximum, and in the amount of time from when I was reading comics to like all the time I worked through Maximum till now, just now in the last like year, we have 2 Doctor Strange ongoings, and that we've never had a Doctor Strange ongoing series until now. Luke Cage has always been a supporting character. Doctor Strange has always been a supporting
Right.
character. Like Black Panther has
The
had
only reason I know Doctor Strange is because Patrick gave me one of his trade paperbacks to read.
yeah, like
We got talking, and he's like, "You've never read it?" Like, I don't even know anything about him.
Dude,
Here you go.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He's like, "Well, let me
Yeah.
fix that."
But I mean, like we're getting these characters now that like people are walking into comic book stores and they're like, "Where's the Luke Cage comic book? Where's the Black Panther comic book? Where's the Ant-Man comic book?" Where it's like we didn't have this 10 years
Right.
ago.
Well, Brandon, you probably know because you worked at the comic book store, even though you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean,
Iron Man wasn't a thing. Like Marvel had the rights to Iron Man. That's why they made the first movie with him. But before that, he wasn't that popular. In fact,
No.
Marvel had given him over to Image for a while because they couldn't sell
Right,
the damn
that's
book.
right.
When
But now
I
he's
was working
huge.
there, Extremis was just coming out, and there was like hype going for the movie. But yeah, I mean, now he has 2. Well, I mean, now he's dead, I guess, or is going to die. So now you've got Doctor Doom and Riri Williams, which is fucking
Ridiculous.
Bendis just being
Yeah, pretty
ridiculous. But no, like it's crazy to think that like all these comic books and stuff are now influencing. Like I'm so stoked I get a Doctor Strange I get 2 Doctor Strange ongoings, and it's not just like, oh hey, here's our intern writing the new Doctor Strange book. It'll get
Yeah.
canceled in 80 issues.
He's
It's
the
like
new
no,
guy.
we're giving it to Jason Aaron. Even I mean, shit, when we started doing Nerd Locker, they announced the Gendy Tedovowski, or however you say it, the guy who did Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack, doing the Luke Cage book, and just now it started coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, they put it on the back burner for so long, and then the show comes out, and they're like, oh hey, we'll
It's
do
the
it
same
now.
thing with when we talked about. Remember, I think there was a video of us talking about the Paul Giamatti version of Doctor Strange, where you did your impression of Paul Giamatti as Doctor Strange.
I forgot about that.
I was looking through some old videos and I found that, and I thought it was hilarious.
Just like the slumpy hand gesture thing.
Exactly. Because your impression of Paul Giamatti was so spot on about Doctor Strange. Now that we've seen the movie, though, could you imagine Paul Giamatti pulling that off? No,
Absolutely not.
absolutely not. Right? It was the funniest thing I think I've seen. Because after we walked out, I was like, I know we talked about this. We had to have talked about this. And sure as shit, there you go.
Paul, that was fucking great. Oh, by the way, a callback to the last podcast when we couldn't pronounce Baron Mordo's name. I went to work and I was like, yeah, I can't pronounce it. And like two people I work with were like, oh, you mean blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, why the fuck can't I say this guy's name?
Still can't.
Chiwetel fuck it.
We're not doing that again. I don't have it pulled up on my phone to play into the mic, so we're not doing this again.
All right, guys. Well, that I think is going to do it here for the podcast. So thank you guys for listening. Make sure to follow Nerd Locker on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, not Vine, because Vine is dead. We also don't have a Snapchat or anything else. Maybe our Tinder account. Follow us on our Tinder account as well.
There you go. Nerds dating nerds.
We don't have that swipe, right?
Never in a million years. And thanks to the 8 listeners that keep listening to this podcast as well.
Love all 8 of you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
No, my dad downloads it and then probably just deletes it because he's like,
"This is ridiculous."
It's an analytic. We'll take it.
He texted me and he was like, "Can I just get Patrick and Jim's audio?" I'm sick of hearing it.
That's so weird. I agree with Russ.
Thanks, Russ.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. We'll see you back here later on. And until then, everybody have a nerdy week.